Hello, Alabama fans. I'm Ricky Green, your host here on Tide Talk. On today's episode, we want to look back at the Alabama-Mississippi State football game, and we're going to talk a little bit about this Crimson Tide defense that has absolutely come alive the past 3 weeks or so. Ever since halftime against the University of Georgia, this has been a different looking unit for defensive coordinator Pete Golding, and I know Nick Saban has to be happy about that. Hit that like button right now if you're excited about this defense and the potential that it has for the rest of the season. Not going to ramble too long today. We'll get right into today's episode of Tide Talk right now. All right, Alabama fans, like we said in the introduction for today's episode, we want to focus in on this defense. Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide defense has absolutely came alive the past 3 weeks, basically ever since halftime against the University of Georgia. This defense is night and day better than it was the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, and it is absolutely something that Alabama fans should be excited about. Which leads me to the question for our viewers today. Get in the comment section right now and let me know why for yes, N for no. You guys know the drill by this point. Do you believe this Alabama defense can continue to perform the way it did this past Saturday against Mississippi State for the remainder of the season? Do you expect this defense to be this good the rest of the year? Simple question today. Y for yes, N for no, and I will pin that down in the comment section below. Be active, get the discussion cranked up, and let us know what you think about that. All right, the first thing that we want to look at in today's video, the most exciting thing for me as an analyst and for me as an Alabama football fan, the tackling against Mississippi State is just absolutely awesome. I was really critical of this defense the first few weeks of the season, even some in our previous game back before we played Mississippi State this past Saturday. The tackling just seemed like it needed some major work. Apparently, it got it. Whatever they did between Tennessee and Mississippi State, it worked. Guys were breaking down. They were tackling in the open field, not missing tackles, not just trying to blow a guy up and make the highlight reel for after the game. Breaking down, tackling with great form, and that is very exciting. I think this defense has the potential to continue to get better each week as we move further and further into the season. Now, before we get into stats and all that stuff, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. We have broken our goal of having 1,000 subscribers here on our YouTube channel, and we want you to be a part of that as well. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me right now, and let's keep this subscriber count rising, and I promise I will keep the content rolling. All right, got that out of the way. Want to look at some of the defensive stat leaders from Alabama for the game against Mississippi State. Now, bear in mind, Mike Leach has been coaching as a head coach, I believe, for 19 years now and has never once been shut out. This Alabama Crimson Tide defense got the job done. Pitched a perfect game against Mississippi State. Mississippi State was able to make a couple of plays here and there, but nothing really ever got rolling for them offensively at all. Alabama basically dared them to run the ball, and Mike Leach simply would not try to get the run game going. And that worked out, in the Crimson Tide's favor. It was just a dominating defensive performance. 41-0 was the final score, but it probably could have been 100-0, just to be quite honest. Malachi Moore led the team in total tackles with 8, 3 solo stops, a tackle for loss. Dylan Moses and Brian Branch were right there behind Malachi Moore, tied for second with 7 total tackles. Both of them also had 4 solo stops. Brian Branch was credited with a half of a tackle for loss. We saw Patrick Surtain Jr. Get a pick six during this past game, and that is a big, big thing for this defense. The return of the non-offensive touchdowns for the University of Alabama, it's been a trademark of the Nick Saban defense, and the last couple of years, we just haven't seen a whole lot of it. We've saw now Malachi Moore scoop a fumble, take it to the end zone for 6. We've saw Patrick Surtain Jr. intercept the ball, take it to the house 6. Really, really excited about seeing the return of the non-offensive touchdown for the University of Alabama's defense. Mac Jones and the Alabama Crimson Tide offense had a really good game. 41 points, like I said earlier. It could have been 101 if we'd wanted it to. I firmly believe that. Mac, I think, may be dinged up a little bit. A couple of throws he made, he underthrew the ball, which is something we don't typically see from Mac Jones. But I think that this bye week is crucial for Alabama. Right now, it couldn't have came at a better time. We've got several guys that are not necessarily injured, but they're beat up, they're dinged up. We're playing an all SEC schedule this season, and several guys just need some extra rest. We're going to get those guys healthy this week, and then we're going to look to maybe have a little bit of a payback game against LSU Saturday after next. LSU, everybody saw in the locker room after they came to Bryant-Denny and beat Alabama last year, Ed Orgeron made his classless clown speech that he made talking about he was going to beat Alabama's expletive every time he's seen us on the field in recruiting. And I think Nick Saban and Alabama are going to take this game against LSU personally. I'm not going to get into a lot of that. We'll save that for another episode. We'll do an in-depth preview. But just wanted to at least mention in today's episode the fact that that revenge that you asked for, Ed Orgeron, is on the way. And I hope for the LSU Tigers' sake, you guys are ready for it, because we're getting ready to serve y'all up some tail whipping right here in just a couple of weeks. Enough about that. All right, hit that like button for me right now if you believe Alabama will go 10-0 and finish the regular season undefeated, headed into the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Georgia. Hit that like button for me right now. All right, not going to keep rambling, not going to go on too awful much longer. Wanted to get this video out for you all this morning, kind of wrap up Mississippi State week, Mississippi State hate week. It's hard for me to really hate Mississippi State because of Mike Leach. I think he's a brilliant head coach, definitely an offensive guy. But he'll get that program at Mississippi State straightened out and have those guys winning 8-9 games a season. And I don't think it'll take him long to do it. One more time, though, hats off to that Alabama defense. A shutout is very rare in this modern day of college football. This is not the same game that it was 5 or 6 years back. To shut the Mike Leach air raid offense down the way this defense did is absolutely impressive. Hats off to Pete Golding, Charlie Strong, whoever else had a hand in getting this defense together and getting these young men ready. Hats off. Defense looked great, and if we can look like that the rest of the season, there's not going to be a whole lot of anything that anybody can do to keep Alabama from bringing home national championship number 18. Once again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that for me right now. I'm Ricky Green for Tide Talk Sports on another episode on the Alabama Football News and Rumors channel on YouTube presented by Chat Sports. We'll see you next time. As always, Roll Tide.